Hey there, you're listening to Not Another TV Podcast. This is episode 97, the week of October 26, 2025. My name's Drew Koenig. With me, as always, is my co-host, Mads Sassy. Mads, happy Halloween. Or pre-Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
We're almost at Halloween.
Are you going to dress up?
No, actually.
Or are you working?
I'm actually, it was very funny. So, our mutual friend and friend of the show, Robin Jeffrey, will be on the podcast next week, hopefully. And we were texting back and forth about a time, and she just went, "How about Halloween?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Why the fuck not? Yeah."
I'm not doing anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the Halloween plans.
So, my entire childhood, we lived in a house that was out in the country. I grew up in Kansas, for those of you that might not remember, or I haven't told. And so, like, we didn't do a bucket of candy by the door or have trick-or-treaters because, like, nobody goes out to the fucking country to, like, go trick-or-treating. We would, when we were really little, we'd go into town and, like, hit the firehouse and a couple of my mom's friends' houses, and that was, like, it. Well, now my mom lives in a house in town in a nice neighborhood. And so today we're at the store and she like buys this big bag of candy. I'm like, "Why are you buying candy? You have 2 diabetics in your family. Like, what are you doing?" She goes, "Trick or treaters." And I go, "Oh, right. I forgot you get trick or treaters." I go, "Am I going to be in charge of manning the door?" She goes, "Probably." And I go, like, I'm just like, no.
The thing I don't think anyone really prepares you for, like going into adulthood, is the transition from like I grew up in the suburbs, in a very like trick-or-treater friendly neighborhoods, and now live, exclusively in apartment buildings, which you will
Yeah.
never have a trick-or-treater in an apartment building. It's just not going to happen, and that remains weird. That remains like a weird thing of like, oh yeah, this either like being active in the trick-or-treater part of Halloween or just like entering the door. It's like, oh yeah, none of those apply to my Halloween now.
Yeah, and when I'm home in New Jersey for Halloween, we obviously have Allie who's just turned 8 in April. So like she's at that prime age of, yes, let me dress up, let me be, go Halloween, all this stuff. And this year she's decided she's going to be Scary Sonic, which is like a an online YouTube video thing where
Yeah.
someone has made a rendition of Sonic that has red eyes and carries around a weapon and he's like freaky and weird. And that's what she wanted to dress up as. And I'm like, you are truly a product of this household because we like spooky scary. Like, good job. Like, we applaud the effort.
Right.
Because in the past she's done things like butterflies, and I'm like, ew, no. Like, but now she wants to be creepy stuff, and we're like, yes.
Yeah, sure.
She asked to watch Scream the other day, and Karen's like, absolutely, that's my favorite movie. Let's sit down and watch it. And she guessed the killer within like 30 minutes.
Well, that's good.
We're like, good job.
Solid comprehension skills.
Exactly.
Halloween is both like this weird positive and negative for me now, because obviously it's Halloween and candy, and we'll ever just have that kind of connotation to it. But also, it is the harbinger of doom to me. I can always gauge how bad the Halloween crowd is at work with how bad the rest of my year will go.
Oh.
In a retail sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And right now it's not looking good.
Uh-oh.
So
I mean, the world is shit, so are we really surprised?
Right. But yeah, Halloween is like the canary in the coal mine for me. So it's like,
how will the rest of the boozy holidays go?
Exactly. Yeah, it's might be a problem this year. Might be a bad year.
You might be having to sneak a little bit behind the counter.
Yeah, totally. We're almost to the last 2 months of the year, which is exciting, I suppose.
It's wild because, like, what do you mean October's already over? But also, it feels like we've been in this administration of our government for 5 years and it's only been less than a year. Like
Right, totally. Like
it's like been 10
realistically, it's been
months and
like a
I'm just like,
9 month
"Oh god, no."
stretch, you know?
Yeah. It's like only 9 months? What?
Yeah, it's been an odd year, to say the least. Just in terms of feel. No, I started putting together my end of year list this week.
Oh
Uh
yeah, I need to get on that.
and I was like, there's simultaneously more and less stuff than I imagined that there would be at this part of the year. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
realistically, I know that I'm still gonna add like a bunch of shit to this, but also this year has felt so good, you know, in terms of
yeah.
TV. I was like, I've really expected that I'd have more than what I have. I still have a lot, to be clear. I still have a bunch of shows that I really enjoyed. But I was like, really expected there to be like, it felt like there was more. And I think it's just that the shows that we had are like such clear top threes, you know? They're such clear contenders. So it's maybe has made the year feel better than it maybe necessarily was.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's talk about some news real quick. So the first piece of news, and it's kind of weird casting news. That I kind of just want to get out of the way. But there was news out of the and I think this happened while we were on our little hiatus, but I forgot to mention it last week. News out of the Percy Jackson camp about both Daphne Keane, who a lot of people recognize as X-23 from the Wolverine from Logan, playing Aphrodite, and then Kate McKinnon. No, sorry, Daphne Keane is playing Artemis, and Kate McKinnon of SNL fame is playing Aphrodite. Which I said this online, but like the worst fucking person you know is pissed off about this.
Mhm.
Which then it puts everyone else in the awkward position of having to defend the hotness of Kate McKinnon,
Yeah.
which is true, but I shouldn't have to say that.
Right. She's an unconventional hot. Like
Right. There's no I guess I'm still gonna there's no way of looking at Kate McKinnon and going, that's not a gorgeous person, right? Like by every standard of beauty, you know?
absolutely.
So it'd be like the idea that like Kate McKinnon isn't beautiful enough to be Aphrodite is crazy. It's out of this world crazy.
Insane.
Um, yeah, but also the people that were like, well, I expected Aphrodite to like look like different people to different people, and I was like, that was never going to. I don't know how to express to you that that was never going to happen.
That's too expensive. Like they're not gonna fucking do that.
They're not gonna get a new actress every time Aphrodite comes on screen. I don't care if it's only once. They're not gonna do that.
No. Yes, we understand that that is the essence of Aphrodite as a mythos, but you can't translate that to television in a cost-effective way.
No. So Kate McKinnon as Aphrodite, good. It's good.
Yeah.
Also, it's on the other note, it's weird to me now to think of Daphne Keane as being old enough to play a full on goddess.
Yeah,
uh,
I always think of her as the child. Like,
right, and she's a full adult.
oh yeah.
Like she's a 20-year-old woman now, but that is a weird bit of cognitive dissonance. And then for other piece of news here, Eric Dane is going to be on Brilliant Minds, playing an actual patient with ALS,
Yeah.
which will be a very intriguing episode.
Yeah, and from the promotional photos, you can tell that he's definitely progressed quite a bit in his ALS disease,
Right.
which is so sad.
Yeah, and like in a kind of parasocial way, it is going to be interesting to see like the progression from Eric Dane on Countdown to now Eric Dane on Brilliant Minds,
Yeah.
which is tragic, but something I'm like kind of like morbidly intrigued by. So that will be pretty interesting.
So this is probably only interesting to me and anybody that listens that watches 911, but the 2-year court battle with Rockman Dunbar over his refusal to take the COVID-19 vaccine and then getting fired during the pandemic has come to an end. And I just want to say I don't support corporations, especially I'm very wary of Disney just because they're just such a soulless corporation, but their lawyers are amazing. Some of the transcript from that court case has been released, and part of his argument was he could not take the vaccine because it was against his religion. And they started off by pointing out, well, you take testosterone, which is also sacrilegious according to the leader of your religion. um and you take this drug, which is also whatever. And he's like, well, no, we're not perfect. And so then they pull out a list of 37 other drugs that he takes that are against his religion, and so he immediately lost the case. And I'm just like, you knew this wasn't going to go anywhere. Like, bro, did you think Disney wasn't going to find out every little piece of information about your drug history? I just think it's so funny. And it's something that's been at the back of the minds of all of us that have been with 911 since the bitter beginning. That we're like, what's going to happen with this court case? And we now know he did not win.
No, and I don't think anyone expected him to win. Like,
No, no, we didn't. But finding out that that there were 37 drugs that went against his religion that he still takes, and we're just like, bro, you thought you had something? Like, what?
even on a non-religious basis, if you were like, I don't want to do this, I'm also taking these 37 other drugs.
And that's the thing. It's like, okay, from a human standpoint, like, aren't you considerate of the other people you work with? Because this is a cast that has at least one actor that we know of for a fact that is immunocompromised because he has cerebral palsy. And you're like, you're going to put him in danger in order to keep your job as a character who's gay, but you don't like to do gay kisses, so it's really very like gay in name only. Like, like, why are you holding so tight to that job there, Rockman? But anyways, it just sucks in general because certain characters lost their dad as a character on the show, so like they have to constantly say, well, dad moved away to Mexico, because that's what they did. That's how they wrote him off. Like, he decided to travel with his traveler boyfriend to do work in Mexico. Like,
That's crazy.
yep. He just abandoned his kids and went to Mexico. It's fine.
That's fucking wild.
Anyways, but yeah, that news came out in the last week or so, and I was just like, this is funny.
The last piece of news that I have here also is it was reported this week that High Potential is the first 10 p.m. drama to hit #1 in the fall since ER in 1999.
Yep.
Which is kind of like, it's crazy that High Potential is the one to do this. But also, people crave the TV. They crave for a good 20-ish episode. They want a good grind. They want a good.
And they crave that silly dynamic of, here's a very, very serious character and here's a very silly character, and they have to work together against their will. Like, we love that dynamic. We saw it with Psych. We saw it with, all these other shows, but like, I make the Psych reference because James Roday does direction and different stuff behind the scenes for High Potential, and so we're just like, there's a connection there. But like, it's clear that that's what the people want, so I'm so happy that it's reached this milestone because it's what it deserves.
Everything always circles back around to, like, someone. I was having a conversation with someone about network TV versus streaming. I was like, you need network TV because one day streaming is going to fall on its face and everyone's going to want to come back around to network TV.
Mm-hmm.
And now here we
Yep.
are. People want they want that good network TV. Like, that's why it's bad that the CW isn't around anymore.
Yeah.
In its true form. People want that stable show that airs from, September to May. That's
We
what the
want
people
that tradition
crave.
of, we want that tradition of, it's Friday night, let's all sit and watch the same thing.
It is not, again, we're talking about the pit. It's not an accident that the pit had this monumental landscape in this year, because it gave us 16 episodes. It's gonna come back in January. They're fucking filming it right now. Like, it's still on everyone's mind. There's a feeling of stability. Like, there is something to TV as a staple of your life, you know?
Yep.
Like, there is something of coming back to a show year after year after year that I think one of the reasons why TV has had this really lasting effect, and differentiates itself from any other form of media, is because there is that comforting presence in your life of, this thing will continue to come back, most likely.
Well, yeah, and like I kind of said it in last, like, earlier this year. It wasn't really last year. It felt like last year, but earlier this year when the Connors ended, because that was the last of the Connor family that television would have after like 37 years between original reruns and everything. Like, it's just like, it's weird to see this family go off the air. Like, there's nothing new with them because it's been such a staple in so many people's lives. Like, a lot of the comments I would get on my reviews for the Connors was, oh my gosh, I miss Roseanne. I miss, the way it was in the 80s and 90s and da, da, da. And it's like, shows like that stick with people because we all sat down as a family and watched this 30-minute sitcom, or we all sat down as a family and we watched that ridiculous drama. It's just something that other things can't maintain. Like, movies are great, but do we really have that nostalgic feel of, oh, I watched this X number of times with my family? Not really, but TV does.
Yeah. So, yeah. This is very cool. TV is a stock that will always, no matter where we are, will always be rising. Let's move on into the GOAT. So, the GOAT is a weekly segment we do here on the podcast where myself and Mads nominate a best TV character or episode of all time and put them in a poll online. Doing a little bit of catch up here, back to our redemption round, where we put up On the Run from What We Do in the Shadows versus Rosetta from Smallville. That is a still ongoing poll, but I don't want to say that On the Run is like running away with it, but looks like I'll win that one. That is the, by all indications, what's going to happen. This week, we are doing best Halloween episodes. And what this is a tried and true formula for TV. When in doubt, this time of year, you can always just put out a Halloween episode, and it's almost certainly to be a banger. And it's become a staple for a lot of shows. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Simpsons. I feel like it's Always Sunny had a run of Halloween episodes. I think like Friends had a few good Halloween episodes. So yeah, it's always a good bet on a TV Halloween episode. Since I won, or will probably have won, the redemption round, I will go first with my pick for the GOAT. And as soon as we said Halloween episodes, it took me no time at all to be like, I know exactly what kind of thing I'm going to do, and that was Treehouse of Horror on The Simpsons.
Nice.
I think this is, to me, like the eponymous Halloween episode. You know, like, it's the most iconic. It is what my brain immediately goes to when you say a Halloween episode. This is what that conjures for me, and then it just became a matter of which Treehouse of Horror. I could have an entire series on just Treehouse of like I could have entire goat segments just on Treehouse of Horror episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are so many that are great, especially in like the early run of The Simpsons. Like I would say, like easily the first six are like kind of all time bangers, you know. And then there have been some good ones, scattered throughout the years. But the early run of Treehouse of Horrors are just kind of god tier Halloween episodes, and they always take the form of like fun anthology, not necessarily involving Halloween, but like evoking a kind of spooky, creepy twist on The Simpsons. That is
Mm-hmm.
always a lot of fun. But I eventually settled on this. It was either going to be this or Treehouse of Horror 4, which is also very strong with some, again, just some real banger segments in that one as well. Um, of like Homer selling his soul to uh the devil, who's actually Ned Flanders, for a donut. Instead, I went with season 6, episode 6, Treehouse of Horror 5, which has just some real banger anthology stories here. I think the most famous one is the riff on The Shining, which they call the shitting because they don't want to get sued. Where the Simpsons go to take care of Mr. Burns's, remote estate mansion, but there's no beer or television, and Homer loses his mind and attacks, tries to attack Marge with a bat. And there's this everyone has probably seen the clip of Homer walking up the stairs with the bat and like antagonizing Marge. Like seeing a reflection of himself and freaking out and falling down the stairs because he looks deranged. But yeah, it's a great segment. And then also another one where Homer accidentally builds a time machine after he fixes the toaster, and he keeps going back to like prehistoric times, the dinosaurs, and accidentally stepping on something, and he comes back and the world's just like violently different. And one of the times he comes back and it's everything looks normal, everything looks fine, going through like this list of like, is this right? Is this right? Is this right? And he goes, are there donuts here? And Martin's like, what's a donut? And he freaks out and runs away. He goes back to his time machine. And immediately after, it starts raining donuts.
Mm-hmm.
So The Simpsons was always really good at like visual gags. And this is kind of chock full of them. And then the last one, where the principal and the teachers start turning all the kids into food and eating them. Um, Lisa and Bart are freaking out, trying to stop this in like this fun riff of like Soylent Green. And so it's all just kind of like an excellent showcase of like, oh yeah, this is what The Simpsons did the best. Like this is all of like what The Simpsons was really good at.
Mm-hmm.
With like really funny lines and uh, really clever visual gags. That is my pick. Treehouse of Horror 5.
Nice. So my pick is a different iconic. Because when I think of Halloween episodes, I think of the show that ran through most of my childhood, and I just remember these episodes or like moments from these episodes without remembering which episode they were particularly from. So I had to sit back and do a little bit of research to remind myself, okay, which episode exactly is it that I'm like really wanting to talk about? And of course, I mean, I'm talking about Roseanne. Roseanne was famous for their Halloween episodes, um, because the Connors go all out despite their lack of financial stability. Halloween is their holiday. They always make sure that they have more than what they need to really spook the neighborhood every year on Halloween. Um, And so my pick for this week is Roseanne season 2, episode 7, which is called Boo. And this is one of the, I want to say it's the first official Halloween episode the show ever had, which kind of really set the stage and told us, oh, this is going to be a big deal every year. But it's a series of prank wars between Roseanne and Dan throughout the episode. All the while, they're trying to convince Becky that Halloween is still cool, even though she's a teenager and thinks that going to a party with her quote unquote friends is more important. And then she finds out she's not even invited to the party. And so she just wants to be miserable. And they're like, well, if you're going to be miserable, you might as well dress up, like just participate. But the pranks are what really make this episode. You know, we start off with Roseanne teasing her hair so that it stands up. And Darlene says to her, Mom, what are you doing? And she's like, I have a date. And then 2 seconds later, Dan comes walking through the kitchen and then goes to outside their back porch, whatever. And so she sticks her hand in the unplugged in toaster and starts screaming that she's being electrocuted. He comes in, and instead of being fazed by the fact that she's saying she's being electrocuted, he takes the toast and he says, that was close. I just hate burnt toast. Like, it's just so funny. She's trying so hard to really get him, and he is the master of Halloween. So, like, it's very hard to prank him and get him scared about something. So that's when Roseanne and Jackie get together and they make it their mission to freak him out throughout the episode. And they fail miserably time and time again. But he manages to freak them out on multiple occasions. One being he comes running in with what looks like blood all over his hand. He says his hand got caught in the saw, and Roseanne believes him. And then he squirts fake blood, and she's just like, "Ooh, you are dead!" Like, you know, she's so mad, and she's just. And so then they're going through and they're talking about what their costumes are going to be, and DJ is like 6 or so, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna be a fearless ninja warrior. And then he's like, oh, mommy, I have a boo-boo. And she goes, yeah, some fearsome ninja warrior going on right there. And Roseanne's like, I'm gonna be a wicked witch of the Midwest. And Jackie makes the comment, she goes, where'd you get the hat? And she goes, my in-laws. Which is fantastic. And then we get to the actual day of Halloween, and the family has set their house up to be a haunted house. And that's something they do every single year. They get people to come through, and each person's costume is related to the theme of the house for that year. And that year it was the Tunnel of Terror. And so there's just different things. So, like, Becky ends up getting into it, and she becomes a dead stewardess who has lost her arm. DJ's the one that answers the door, and he speaks in his. It sounds like he's speaking, but really he's just mouthing while a recording of his father is speaking. The welcome to the Tunnel of Terror or whatever, and Jackie's under a covered plate, and it's just her head, and then Darlene's running around with arrows and knives sticking out of her. Like, it's chaos, and it's funny, and it's fun. And Dan has a axe through his head. Well, Dan's also trying to get a job because he's a contractor, and he's trying to get this guy to sign on for a job. He goes, this guy will be in town in a couple days. Well, it turns out he shows up on Halloween, and Dan's like in costume, and he's like, oh crap, I got the schematics in my room. Like, hold on, I'll be right back. And after he leaves, this guy's telling Roseanne how great and wonderful this house is. He loves it. And she's like, can you help me out? I need to freak out Dan. So she gets him in on this big prank where she makes it seem like he is not okay with any of the Halloween going ons. And it just becomes really funny because Dan is seeing his life flash before his eyes. Like, his business is going to go up in smoke because this big contract isn't going to work out. And the guy's like, no, bro, I actually really like this. Like, I'm in on it with your wife. And she's just like, got you. And we think, oh, that's the end of the episode. But no, there's still 2 more pranks involved. We've got Roseanne cleaning up, and Dan shows up as Jason with a chainsaw, and it freaks her out. But then she gets him because she's sitting in the kitchen on a normal morning and she's on the phone and it's very clear that she's talking to Dan's parents and she's like, "Oh, yeah, no, of course the kids will love to see you. Of course your husband needs time off." Like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, 2 weeks? No, 3 weeks?" And he's like, "Absolutely not. You get her back on the phone and you tell her she's not coming." And she's like, "Gotcha." Like, it's just the type of antics that we know and love from Roseanne and Dan on normal episodes, but then there's the heightened Halloweenness of it, and it just shows just how dedicated this family is to creating a themed Halloween haunted house every single year and how much fun it is. And it really set the stage for this show to have multiple iconic Halloween episodes. So yeah, my pick is Roseanne, season 2, episode 7, Boo.
Nice. You can find the poll for this on all our social media platforms. Find those at our link tree at linktree.com/none on TV podcast. And be sure to vote. You'll have 2 days to do so. Next week, we are going to be doing vampires. A lot of fun potential there. Until then, let's move on into the main part of our show. To kick us off this week, we are going to be foregoing our next foray into Dimension 20 for next week. We'll be having a lot of Dimension 20 talk. But in lieu of that, we're going to be talking briefly about Fionna Cake, which is back for its second season on HBO Max. And the fun thing about Fionna Cake is it has these deep cut Adventure Time references. There's so many of them like scattered throughout here, and so many like fun little Easter eggs, and you have to examine what is this and how is because it's all not only just like gender bent characters, but also species changed characters. Because so much of Fionna Cake is we're in a normal metropolis world. We're just in a normal place. Everyone is a human. So you still get a bunch of like the regular people, Fionna Cake and Marshall Lee and Gary and Hunter shows up for a minute, but you still have just like fucking Sir Slicer for a second, and you're like, Sir Slicer, who was in exactly one episode of Adventure Time, and then there's like Magic Man and the squirrel from the first season, who was also only in one episode of Adventure Time, and so just these deep cuts all over the place. But it is a fun reintroduction to this, where you have everything going on in the Fionna Cake world, where Fionna is adjusting to having like this new status as a hero who saved the world, and also Queenie is while Queenie is like being a hater, and like Gary is trying to get his new like bakery stand open in this plot of land, and then it also shifts because we're still in a kind of Adventure Time zone. We're still in that place where you going back to Ooh proper, and seeing like a bit from like Simon, who's now teaching at the Wizard City school, and we see more of like Peppermint Butler in the school with his friends from that not very good Distant Lands episode. And then also following Huntress Wizard a little bit, who has found Finn after being attacked by the bear in the first season, that he now seems to have been poisoned or something, and she's trying to figure out what happened to him. And so that's all setting that up. So I think it's off to an interesting start. Like seeing more of like this more like grown up Huntress Wizard,
Oh, nice.
because Finn is so significantly older now, like mid 20s or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So it's fun seeing like this kind of more mature kind of, but also like her interactions with Finn of just being like, you fucking lazy ass. Which are fun. But yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it so far, and I'll be interested to see like where the rest of the season goes.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out for next week.
Yeah. Let's move on to our next show, Ghosts. Yeah, this was a very fun episode this week.
It really was.
Yeah, some good hijinks and whatnot.
Also, the being on hold for 5 million years and still not getting what you need is so real. Like that's such like her saying like her having a fight with the automated voice on the phone. I'm just like, I have been there so many times because they can't hear distinct words that are clearly being stated. Like it's oh my gosh. I felt for her very much.
Right. And also, everything you love will one day be acquired by a venture capitalist group and ruined.
Yep.
Anyone who enjoyed going to Frisch's knows this.
I can say from a medical standpoint, I had a company that I would get my medical supplies from that were fantastic. And then they were bought out by a monopoly conglomerate company. And all of a sudden, the customer service went into the ground. Like it was horrendous. So bad, I stopped using them. And now I'm being forced to use them again because it's the only one that accepts my insurance and I'm going through hell all the time. The part about the friend group calling them crazy to the point that no one wants to invite them to things is just so funny.
But also, you all can only blow up your lives so many times before it starts getting back to people.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what did you think? Like, you talk to ghosts and like the ghosts cause problems. What did you think people were gonna think? They can't see them.
Yeah, a very fun guest starring from Sashir Zamata from Agatha All Along. Even though the episode
Yes.
kind of wastes her.
Yeah.
They don't. I would say I think that is one of the problems of the episode is that it doesn't really use them very much, especially her. It's like
Yeah.
you have Sashir Zamata. Like, why are you not using her? What's going on? So hopefully they'll be sticking around for a bit because that would be a wild waste of both those actors. So hopefully there is a multi-episode arc coming for that.
Yeah, I hope so. I and also I just the concept of the shouting window has always been funny, but now it's like even more funny because you're just like you're shouting at a wedding through a window. Like it's just really funny. And good old Pete with his cultural references that I love because he always references the right stuff and I'm just
Yeah,
like, yes.
yeah.
And then Sass and Trevor trying to get good points by sitting by the on hold phone for Sam. And then they get distracted by the Golden Bachelor.
I love Trevor watching The Golden Bachelor. Like, what are we watching this? No, I'd still do it. I'd still go for it.
He's like, it's my kind of freaky. I do it. Yeah.
Trevor, you freak.
Like, and then they're talking about the the actual neighbors that have I forget their names that made a swingers video, and Trevor's like, "Why would you watch that?" And you're right, I'd watch it too. Like,
I'd still watch it.
so now we really, really know how kinky Trevor is. Um, no wonder he's attracted to Hetty. Like, it makes sense now.
Yeah. So some real banger lines this episode of like Thor talking about pushing elders off a cliff and Hetty going, but you probably could have just waited till they were 35. Which is a great line.
Because back then, elders were their 20s.
Right, yeah. Just outstanding.
Very good. It was very good.
But also Sam and Jay standing at the mailbox and Hetty yelling advice to them
Yes.
was very funny.
And then she didn't fully approve of their conversation that they had with their friends, but then she's like, "But you got what you needed." Like, she's like, "So, I guess it wasn't that bad." It's just like, all this for a trip to an island? Like, really? That you guys are probably not gonna go on? Like,
That the ghost will sabotage even if you do get to go.
right, exactly. There's still plenty of time in the year between, trips for the ghost to find a way to get you excommunicated from your friends again. It's gonna happen. I mean, they were very close with the media room at the end there. Poor Jay. Just
Yeah,
poor Jay in the closet. I
truly.
feel like there's subtext there, but we're not gonna get into that.
That's not. Well, let's move on to our next show. Matlock, entitled "Tomorrow Still Tomorrow," which does get more into like the actual groove of the season, and
Yeah.
setting up this like new status quo,
Yeah, definitely.
which I think was rather effective at.
Yeah, because it's clear that they're this season is going to be making moves to get rid of Senior in all the fun, exciting ways that we didn't probably think of. Thank you, Justina Mikado.
Yes.
Oh, she came in and I was just like, yes, some shit's going down. Because she always plays those characters that literally has a very strong presence, and you know that something's going to get accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end, I was like, oh, I'm so ready for whatever drama she stirs up. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, she came in with immediately so much energy with a show that already had a tremendous amount of energy. But yeah, like on that note, this is a very good guest star episode. Like I said, you have Justina Machado, you have Yvette Nicole Brown, and then James LaShore as the security chief or head of
Yep.
security. It's like this is a really good like kind of who's who of TV.
Yeah, when Nadine came on screen, I was just like, is that Nicole Brown? Yeah, girl.
Yes,
I was like, oh, this is going to be so much fun. Oh, so good.
really tremendous episode. It is a really it's a well paced episode in part of a well paced season already. Of you can only have Maddie and Olympia at each other's throats for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and this is kind of the inflection point of that.
Right. You know that it's bad if Sarah is freaking out about it. Like, that's when you know it's like, oh, this needs to boil over.
Right.
And it's interesting that this episode they're fighting with each other sort of about the Wellbrexa, but it's really about the bigger issue of how do we get the board to go away without them finding out who has the document.
Mm-hmm.
And so unfortunately they finally come into agreement that Emmeline Belvin, the wonderful, amazing secretary lady that's in random episodes, is going to have to take the fall for this. And she's okay with it. Like, she is willing to take the fall for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sad that she has to take the fall for it.
But at a certain point, someone was going to have to be sacrificed. You know,
Yeah,
someone was
absolutely.
going to have to take a fall for some of this at some point. That wasn't anyone that we had an actual attachment to.
Right. Yeah. And we can see that, like, this situation has really humbled Maddie to the point of, I can let go of control and it won't destroy everything I've been working towards. Because that's been her problem this whole time, is relinquishing control of the narrative. And it's like, you now have Olympia on your side to an extent. You need to relinquish control a little bit to her because she knows how Jacobson more works. You don't. Like, you need to utilize her knowledge of the law firm in general because
Right.
she spent so many years there. And this is that moment for Maddie where she's realizing, okay, maybe we do need to listen to Olympia and let Olympia hold the reins for a little while. And I like that it's shifted in that way, that isn't a big blowout between the two of them.
And it was also the show getting to a point that we always knew that it had to get to, of
Mm-hmm.
taking Senior down, right?
Yeah.
Because anything else is just kind of taking out a Patsy. Like, you can take out Julian, but that won't do anything.
He was just the puppet.
Right.
Who's controlling his strings, right? Like, you have to get the strings severed.
Yeah. So Senior was always going to be the person that they went after. And so it was just a matter of, how do you get those pieces aligned?
And bringing in Eva is the perfect way to do it, because they can potentially take down Senior for something completely unrelated to Welbrexa, and then use Welbrexa as the nail in his coffin.
On another note, I hate that this happened at all, but I hate now that we know how bad of a person David Del Rio is, because his moment in this episode sticking up for Sarah is so good. It's a tremendous moment from him. And I mean, I don't want to give props to the actor, but it is just such a well acted moment of stop gaslighting Sarah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which does help to set up like a future and very specific kind of heartbreak for Sarah in the future, when he won't be on the show anymore.
I did like his, like, when he finally does acquiesce to Sarah's concern. He's like, okay, you're right. Mommy and mommy are fighting. Like, it's just so funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't want to laugh, but like, just calling them mommy and mommy is just so funny.
It's very good. Yeah, and I wish so badly that we could just like separate, Billy and Sarah from David Del Rio, because
Yeah,
Sarah with her like emotional support straight man is just so good.
it really is. It really is, and that's why it's so hard for me to look at those scenes fairly, because
Right.
that feeling about David Del Rio is just so overwhelming that I'm just like, it's clouding and tainting everything.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I push myself to be like, okay, look at it, ignore the actor part, just listen to the lines, watch the scenes, like, look at it from that standpoint. And from that standpoint, the Billy and Sarah dynamic is so good. And he start Nadine calls him William in this episode, and so that's kind of its own little like tongue-in-cheek like teasing moment for Sarah, um which is, again, shows just how good their back and forth always is.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's going to be so rough to see that end, because we know it's coming.
Yeah.
And so another comment on the Emmeline stuff, because again, this show is so good at leading us to believe that like everything's going to just tie up in a happy little bow at the end, but then there's that little tiny aha moment or gotcha moment or twist moment at the end of each episode. And this episode, it's Maddie and Olympia at the bar after Maddie has, said her goodbyes to Emmeline. And Maddie and Olympia are talking about how hard it was for them to let this woman take the fall for them. She was a year away from retirement, all this stuff. And Olympia says she's going to offer Belvin all of next year's salary. And then Maddie goes, "Don't worry about it. Edwin gave her $500,000." And Olympia turns to her and goes, "How rich are you?" She goes, "Rich enough to not have to answer that question." But then we also find out that Maddie took the opportunity when gathering up Mrs. Belvin's stuff from her desk to utilize her login to find the expense report that they've been looking for, to kind of figure out the money trail with Senior. And so we know that's where they're headed next. So that was an interesting way of introducing that.
Yeah, it's an intriguing bit of like plot closure episode, and also plot setup episode.
Absolutely.
So it's very
Yeah, because
interesting,
we've
like,
got
pivot.
right, because we've got Eva coming to talk to Olympia and saying, "I'm gonna take down Senior," and Olympia's like, "You mean like with a coup?" And she goes, "I didn't say that." And it's like clear that she has a plan, but she's gonna make everyone else do it so that she doesn't get caught red-handed, and so that she can benefit from the plan, right? Like, she doesn't want to get her hands dirty, but she'll let everyone else get their hands dirty to achieve her goals. And I love that. I like that idea.
Yeah, so we got some really interesting things coming. On to our next show, Abbott Elementary, which I did not get a chance to catch up on. So Matt's telling me about Abbott.
I don't think the episode title was correct because, in my opinion, the game night part of the episode was not the best part of the episode. Basically, the game night portion of the episode proves that Gregory is not a social person when he offers to host game night at his apartment. And he says, "No, I have everything handled." And that means there is one game option to play. There are barely enough seats for everyone, and some of those seats include sitting on his weight bench. And it is cold in his apartment because it's the temperature that he likes. There are no exciting game night foods. Like, it's not pizza or anything like that. It is health nut foods because, as we know, Gregory doesn't like pizza. But by the end, Janine says, "Well, luckily I listened to me." And she goes out to her car and brings all the things that are necessary for a proper game night into his apartment. And by that time, though, everyone's just like, "I don't want to be playing games anymore." And her and Gregory both agree that if they do another game night, it's not going to be at his apartment. Boring. It's not that exciting. I could have done without 20 minutes of that stuff because it just yawn. The most exciting portion of the episode was Mr. Johnson, Ava, Melissa, and Barbara going to the DMV for various DMV related things because Mr. Johnson says that he's about to go on a vacation for the first time in 30 years and he needs to get his real ID. And they say, "Do you have your real ID?" And he goes, "Yeah, I got a real ID. I am real," which is such a Mr. Johnson thing to say. But then he gets to the DMV, gets through the line, and comes up and she's like, "Do you have an item from column A?" And he hands her his current ID. And she goes, "Okay, what about column B?" And he's like, "What do you mean? I have a thing from column A." She goes, "No, no, no. It's not an it's not an or situation. It's an and situation." She goes, "You need something from both." And so he goes and sits down because has no way of getting his real ID. And so he's lamenting that he's going to miss out on this trip. Meanwhile, Melissa is like, "All right, I am B12. That means I am going to be going up before all y'all's." But for some reason, the DMV has decided to create some weird ticketing setup where 12B goes before B12 and C12 happens before B12. Like, basically, Melissa keeps sitting there because her number just does not get called. And so when she finally does get her number called, she goes up, but she's lost her ticket and she can't get serviced because they don't service you unless you have your ticket. So she's very upset about that. She goes and turns around. She sees it on the floor. Just as she goes to snatch it up, the janitor comes along with a vacuum and vacuums it up. Bye-bye ticket. She can't get her like, it's just insanity. Ava is just there to get a new photo taken for her ID. And every time they go to take her photo, she's talking or something and she gets mad. And it's the guy taking the photos is I don't know if you remember from Glee, the guy that worked at the store with Mr. Schuster's wife in like season 1, the one that was an idiot that didn't know how to fold towels and stuff. It's that actor.
I need to express how much I
He's
haven't watched Glee.
okay. Well, basically, he's an actor that always plays characters that are kind of short a few French fries of the Happy Meal. And he literally is just like incompetent at taking photos, except when it's Mr. Johnson's turn, and then he takes a fantastic photo. But like that whole section of that episode is hilarious because all of them trying to bribe the DMV lady, and she's just like, "No." And then Mr. Johnson having that one connection that's needed for him to get what he needs and nobody else. It's just fantastic hijinks. I love it. It was a good part of the episode. Could have done without the Janine and Gregory of it all. But yeah, that was Abbott this week.
Let's move on to our next show, Brilliant Minds, entitled "Once Upon a Time in America." And one of the main thoughts I have here is the flash forwards aren't here, and Pretty Boy Doctor isn't here, and I didn't miss them.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a stronger episode without either of those things here, and it's just, Wolf and Josh and fun brain stuff. Stressful
Yep.
brain stuff, but fun. Yeah, I liked it quite a bit. They're definitely trying to set up a new, like, a gay love triangle with Wolf and the new, not necessarily new, but the ER nurse,
Yes.
which is very
He was
good.
going heavy with the flirting towards Wolf.
Yes, if that's the direction we're going in, I I'm famously not a fan of love triangles. I will, however, make an exception in this case.
If it's a gay love triangle, by all means, yes.
Yes,
We deserve all the stupid storylines that straight people get.
exactly.
Yeah, this was a very, very stressful, interesting episode. I feel especially bad for why am I blanking on his name? Because like, he's under so much pressure with back-to-back surgeries, and to like think he was successful with one of the brothers and then for that brother to just die, it's just, I can't even imagine the level of hurt that he's feeling, and like shame and disappointment in himself. Like, you can just see it in his face because that actor is just so good.
I also think it's interesting the way that the show is utilizing certain characters now, right? Because like,
Mhm.
I think it's the way that like we don't get like the full roster of interns and doctors like we did last season.
Mhm.
Like some episodes you will just not get. You'll only see like Dana and the other doctor, the other
Is her name Erica?
yeah, Eric. You'll only see like Dana and Erica, and
Mhm.
like in this episode you'll see like Dana and Erica in a shot of the other intern doing his ER rotation. And
Mhm.
that's it. So I find that really interesting this season.
Yeah.
How they're choosing to do that and having it be a little more focused than it was last season.
But yeah, I continue to thoroughly enjoy this show. The concept of Dr. Wolf's facial blindness like is still continuing to be so intriguing, and seeing him this episode like trying to help himself remember people's names based on their faces is so endearing, because it's like, okay, this is a guy that was a total dick at the start of this show. When we first introduced to him, he's a dick. He's like, I don't recognize his faces. I don't care. Like, but it's showing that he's clearly starting to create bonds with some of these doctors and these nurses. And so he's trying to make connections in a way that he can remember, since he has facial blindness.
Mm-hmm.
And, and the hot gay nurse, I forget his name, he points out to him, well, the fact that you call them your nurses is a little bit much. Like, maybe you should remember their names. And he's like, I'm working on it, So, like, it's cool to see Dr. Wolf trying that, which also contradicts so much of what those flash forwards have been doing in the last few episodes. It's like, I don't quite understand how we're going to get from here, where he's at right now, to where he's at in those flash forwards, because none of it makes any sense
Right.
at all.
Well, and to your point, when we started last season with Wolf, like it trying so hard to do this kind of house analog or like house contemporary, but like
Hmm.
not making him so much of an asshole that he was house, but
Yes.
still being too much of an asshole to be like an actual doctor who exists in the real world. And it was doing that kind of like having your cake and eat it too. And now I think it's more finely calibrated. We've gone farther away from the house thing, where like I think
Yes.
that was a problem in the first season of like, well, if you want to do this, you have to be more of an asshole. And now we're kind of drifting away from that archetype into more of a real person who exists in the world.
Hmm.
That I think works better for both that character and the way that Zachary Quinto plays him,
Yes.
with like a
Because, like,
little bit of
there
that edge, but like not to the extent that like Hugh Laurie play would do, you know?
right, like, some of my absolute favorite TV characters are the ones that appear to be very standoffish, very asshole like. The moment you meet them, you're just like, I don't really like this person. But the more you get to know them and you see the layers that they have, you're like, oh no, that's just a front because they have this thing that like is in their way in terms of emotional maturity, right? Like they just have this blockage that comes in terms of emotions, and that's exactly what we're seeing now with Dr. Wolf is like he's starting to break down those walls around his heart and his emotions, that he's like starting to become a nicer, more nuanced person, but he still has that edge of, I'm very very smart, I know what I'm doing, please don't question me, like please just let me do my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that's, he still has that edge of, I can be a dick sometimes but not to the point of being so dickish that nobody wants to be around me.
Yeah, I think it's a really good balancing act. I don't think I mentioned this the last time we talked about it, but one of the previous episodes, diagnosing a patient with, I think it was lupus,
Mm,
which is, great running joke on House, where they'll always
yep.
diagnose someone with lupus, but they never have lupus.
Hmm. Yeah, there's a line, it's never lupus.
Yeah, it's never lupus. And here it's like actually, just I derived so much
Yep.
enjoyment from that.
I do. I love it when there's like a real life example of lupus because it immediately makes me think of House. And it's like, that is the legacy of House, is that like everyone remembers the word lupus. Like,
I couldn't tell you what lupus is or does, but I know it
no,
exists,
me neither.
and it's never lupus.
Right, exactly. I have no idea what lupus really is, but hey, House taught me that word. And I know that Selena Gomez has lupus. Like that's
Oh, right, right.
that's one of the only things I know about it. Like I'm like, it's a it's a disease, it's real, and Selena Gomez has it.
Yeah. On another note, Dana and Erica have to stop telling people that Dana reported
Yo,
the
they do. Like just stop.
the psych doctor, because you what are you doing? What are you doing?
Cuz like she did not get fired. Are you trying to get her fired?
Right.
Like
These are supposed
are
to
you trying
be
to get yourselves fired? Like what's going on here?
right. Quit.
Stop talking.
Stop talking. Um, and I mean, it's already been confirmed that it's kind of an open secret
Right.
because the ER doc knows it. It's like you all gotta put a lid on this. Um, there's a reason these are anonymous. Just very flippantly telling other people who and why you reported. No, stop it. It's the worst possible like Chekhov's gun I can imagine.
The crazy thing is that this isn't the first drama show to do something like this as a small little plot point, because
Right,
Grey's Anatomy did it too.
right.
Because there was this moment in Grey's Anatomy where a doctor got turned in for sexual harassment, and certain characters wouldn't let up until it was revealed to everybody who it was that turned them in. And it's just like, what a dick move. Like, what are
Dick
you
move.
doing?
The pit would never.
It's not a good plot. Like, don't do it.
No. Let's move on to Slow Horses, which had its penultimate episode this week. Blows me away. I know intellectually that there's only 6 episodes, but 6 episodes per season, but it still makes me sad every time. But you know what? If that's the price of getting the show each and every year, fine. Fine. I can deal.
It's fine.
And yeah, this is, of course, setting things up for the finale here, with everyone kind of making bad decisions, uh, making really unfortunate decisions. James Callis is at his most punchable in this episode, which is saying something when I watch multiple seasons of him playing Gaius Baltar. But he's just so punchable as like the first desk here, trying to make moves, but he's the dumbest person on the planet. And it is this kind of fascinating episode where literally everyone is making a bad decision except for Gary Oldman's character, who remains on top of it for the most part. But yeah, like, first Death is making bad decisions. The rest of MI5 is making bad decisions, really poor operational decisions that just blows up in their faces, and you can see it coming from a mile away. And how can't they? You all are supposed to be professionals.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good episode that gets setting some fun stuff up for the finale here. Yeah, I don't think this is turning out to be one of the stronger Slow Horses seasons, but still pretty serviceable, still fun.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Oldman's still a gross old man. Like, what more do you all want? Are you not entertained? I love to see what comes from next week, and even more so what comes next season.
And I will be caught up for next week, I promise.
You have been
So that we can
saying
actually talk about it.
you have been saying this for a year.
Well, no, I actually watched the first 3 episodes of this season. I just got sidetracked and didn't watch 4 and 5.
Right. You have been saying this overall about Slow Horses.
Oh, that's true. I haven't watched seasons 1 through 3, but I've watched 4 and 5. And by me saying I'll get caught up, I meant caught up on this season,
Right.
not the whole show.
Right.
Maybe that'll be my goal for next year, is to actually watch the whole of Slow Horses. Because I do like a gross Gary Oldman. Like, it's just a lot of fun.
That's very good. Let's move on to our next show, The Lowdown, which I also did not get a chance to catch up on. So, Mads, tell me a bit about The Lowdown.
So Lee is still trying to figure out the vital pieces he needs to prove that he thinks Dale didn't kill himself, because the whole time Dale's brother, played by Kyle MacLachlan, and Dale's wife have intimated that he killed himself. And that's the story. But obviously there are things going on that are very shady, and it's like there's a lot of doubt if you look at it from a layman's perspective, which is what Lee is. And so, like, Lee is trying to get to the bottom of that, and this episode focuses on him interviewing and having conversations with this Native American street artist. And this street artist tells him that, in the weeks or months, I forget exactly how much time it was, before Dale died, he and Dale interacted quite a bit. He drew a picture for Dale, and then Dale kept coming back, and they would just have conversations together and things like that. And Lee calls up Dale's wife mid episode and is like, did he ever talk about this guy? Because I think he had a thing for him. And she's like, well, that was our agreement, was that I didn't ask him questions about his little liaisons, because I didn't, whatever. I didn't want to know. She's like, but no, I didn't hear that name come up, not even in arguments with his brother. And so Lee goes back to this kid and he's like, okay, I need more information. Like, what exactly did you and Dale talk about? And so the kid takes him to his house where he lives with his grandfather, and his grandfather shows him a copy of Dale's will that says he's giving the land that Dale's family stole from their family back to them. But obviously, Dale's family is keeping that under wraps because these people have not been given this land back, and Dale's been dead for a good amount of time, that it would have been something that should have come to fruition at this point. And Lee's like, well, we gotta report this, we gotta, like, tell other people, we gotta go down to the courthouse and, like, demand it. And they're like, who's gonna believe us? I'm a street artist and he's a crazy old man. Like, no one's gonna believe us. And that's kind of where the episode sort of ends. But we're led to believe that Lee is on to something, because it cuts to Dale's wife calling someone after she hangs up with Lee, after Lee tells her this information about the will. and she's on the phone, and it's kind of hard to tell who she's talking to, but I guarantee you it's Dale's brother. And so she must be in on whatever it is that Dale's brother's doing. And so next week is the penultimate episode, I want to say, or maybe it's the finale. I forget. I think it's the penultimate episode, and the finale is the following week. So things are really heating up. But poor Lee, like, I'm just so worried he's gonna get the shit beat out of him by the end of, like, even more so than he already has by the end of this season. Like, Ethan Hawke is going through it in this season. I feel like he gets punched a few times each episode. Poor guy. But that was the lowdown this week.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you're gonna play a Jim Brockford character, you have to do the no, please don't punch me. You know?
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
inherent to the genre.
I also just love when Kyle MacLachlan gets to play that sort of anti-hero villain type. Like, not really a full-fledged villain, but definitely someone that's very shady. I love when he gets to do that because it's so fun. And you can tell that he has fun doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is definitely that character for him. So it's been fun to watch his scenes as well.
Let's move on to our last show of the week, High Potential. We didn't talk about High Potential last week, and we've missed a couple episodes. So how are we feeling so far about the season?
I'm liking it. I'm not sure what to make of Steve Howey's character, but then again, I feel like I also have an extreme bias against Steve Howey because I just think as a person he's kind of shady, but whatever. He's a decent actor. He's fine, you know, but I'm not quite sure what the purpose of him is at this point. Like, why did they bring him in?
They're definitely trying to set up something between him and Morgan. Something. But I don't think that's crystallized yet exactly what that something is.
There was an interview released today, or a conversation released today, about how they're saying that Steve Howey's character is going to go through like this moment of realization and growth or whatever, and he's going to shave his mustache off. And I'm like, why is that a thing that TV shows do, where they let a male character have a mustache and then they're like, to show that he's grown and changed, we're going to have him shave it off as some big monumental moment? And I'm like, that's not a real thing that happens in real life. Like,
no. And also, we've already done that. So what was the monumental change? Because he was Sans mustache this episode. So what?
Yeah.
What?
It's like,
what happened?
Yeah. So like this interview conversation was like explaining it, and I'm like, I don't see it, but okay. Like,
okay.
Okay. But I did enjoy this week's episode. That was kind of spooky. And I loved seeing Morgan just really in her element. Like, she's just so tickled by all of this. She's just like, oh my gosh, it's a house with like a secret room that we need to try and find the entrance to. And like, it's just so fun to see her excited like that. Right. Which adds to the case itself, because if she's excited, we're excited.
Right. But again, I know who did it in 0.5 seconds. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely. It was very clear who did it. Like, I do think, as much as I love High Potential, they gotta step up their game a little bit on making it a little less obvious who the doer is every episode.
They're really bad at bearing the lead.
Like, it's obviously the woman that keeps pushing herself into the narrative. Like, it's very obvious.
Right, yeah.
Like, it's not the daughter. That's too easy. Like,
no, it's the spiritualist opportunist. Like, The Conjuring's great, but in real life, Ed and Lorraine Warren are criminals. Like,
exactly.
They are fraudster bullshit artists. Like,
exactly. That's exactly. I don't trust any kind of spiritualist, especially ones that are like in it for money. Because I'm like, no, you're just trying to make a paycheck. You know, Karen goes to psychics every once in a while, and she's like, yeah, no, they like really know. And I'm like, no, they don't know. They're going off your body language. Like, they are literally reading your body language. That's all they're doing.
Yeah, they're Yeah, they're just amateur mentalists. Like, that's it.
They're also like going to your social media because you clearly have a social media account. Like they're looking at your socials.
Right. Yeah. Also, the opening scene with the Black Panther and Chapel Rowan costumes is very, very good.
Yes.
Like,
very good.
That was a good bit of costuming on that.
I loved it.
That the Chapel Rowan drag especially was very good.
Yes.
Really, really spectacular. Like, they also continue to, which is a point we've made a lot. They continue to not know what to do with the kid's dad.
Yeah.
No idea.
Also, I'm kind of starting to get annoyed with how dragged out this whole finding the oldest daughter's dad is going. Like, it's like, is it really taking that long to find this guy after you have all these clues now? Like,
right. Why aren't the police helping with this anymore? Like, why is this now on you?
Yeah. Because what's her name was helping, but now it's solely on Morgan. And it's like, what? That doesn't make sense.
That needs to enter a new groove.
I did see someone tweet, they're like, anytime Morgan interacts with a male character we don't know, ooh, could that be him? Could that be Roman? We've reached that point.
Yeah.
Where we're like, is that Roman? Is this guy going to turn out to be Roman? No? Oh, that's boring.
Listen, I don't know who Roman's going to be, but no matter who Roman is, it will be someone we recognize.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, 1,000.
It's going to end up being like a random guy that we've seen in like a handful of episodes. It would be interesting if the daughter ends up finding him instead of the mom. Like,
yeah.
Instead of Morgan. Like, if the daughter ends up figuring it out, it'll be like, yes, give her that moment to shine because everyone else in her family is geniuses and she's just kind of there.
Yeah.
Like, let her have that moment.
That is our week in TV. And that wraps up our episode here. Next week, we got a pretty good amount of shows coming back or coming into our lineup. Welcome to Derry, Talamasca, Hazbin Hotel. Yeah, we're in that weird part of the year where like stuff that didn't want to come out before, but no one's gonna want to hold till to Emmy season comes out now.
Yep.
They're like, we gotta want to get rid of this before the end of the year, but we don't want it to be like, it's not an Emmy contender, but it's still good.
Yeah.
Comes out in this chunk of the year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They're like, we still want you to consider this for the for your end of year list, unless you're Fallout, and then we'll put it in the last 2 weeks. Stupid. Jeff Bezos is stupid.
Because they're trying to sync their own show.
I don't. It's because people are gonna watch your show on Christmas Eve. I'm
nope.
So fucking stupid. All of that for next week. Until then, Mads, where can we find you online?
You can find me on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram at DorothyNYC89, and on Tumblr at MadsWorld15.
And you can follow me pretty much everywhere at Drew Koenig. And you can find the podcast at Not on a TV Pod. Pretty much everywhere. On whatever social media platform you're currently using. And you can find all those handles at our Linktree at linktree.com/Not on a TV Podcast, which again has all of our social media handles and links, and has our Discord as well. You can find previous episodes of the podcast on Apple and Spotify, along with whatever other podcasting device you use. If you use something that we are not currently on, give us a shout and let us know, particularly at our email at not another TV podcast at gmail.com, where you can send us pretty much anything you want within reason. Don't go crazy.
So don't send nudes.
Yeah, don't send nudes. This is still the internet. Until next week, please remember, don't go in the ocean. It's none of your business. Goodbye.